Dude, even if I extend the screen, I can't see, like, his name doesn't elongate any further.
Yeah, Zencastr fucked up with that update.
Zencastr, I have a 32-inch monitor. Let me read more text.
For real, for real. So, do you guys want to hear how I almost died this week?
Holy shit.
Like, it's not an exaggeration at all. So,
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
okay, so we got some like snow sleet this week, right? We had like a winter storm advisory, and one of the cool things about the state of Washington to the west of the Cascades is that they don't believe in snow plows and salt trucks. I got to work the next day. I had to drive to what is essentially like the equivalent of driving from Toledo to Detroit. It's about a 45-minute drive.
Okay.
And so I go through a city called Bellevue, which is like the rich suburb of Seattle. And on the north side of Bellevue, it goes from like kind of like a sleety rain to like legit snow, but it's actually like sticking onto the road now. And there hadn't been any plows, there hadn't been any salt trucks. So I call my boss and I'm like, "Hey, look, I don't know if I'm going to." So I'm headed to an apartment complex, by the way. So I go, "I don't know if I'm going to be able to even get to this town, Linwood. And even if I do, I don't know that I'll be able to even get in the apartment complex, because if the highways are this bad, I know there's been no, maintenance done to the parking lot." She's like, "All right, well, let me call you back in 5 minutes." She calls me back. She's like, "Yeah, just turn around, come back to the warehouse." All right, cool. So visibility is really bad. I can only see about 100 to 150 feet in front of me. And across the highway, so I let me back up a little bit. So actually tells me to turn around, hang up, reroute the GPS. And as we get onto an off ramp at an interchange, and as I'm like exiting the highway, I look across the highway, which I can barely see. And like 475, how it has like those interchanges that are like way up in the air, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like it's one of those, but it's like the interchange onto the highway looks like a fucking ski slope. Like you can tell no one's driven on it in a long time, and it's just white. There's no tire tracks, nothing. And I'm like, well, at least I don't have to get on one of those. And as soon as I have that thought, my truck starts going up. And it's important to know that I'm in a 16-foot box truck. And there's I don't know if they have them in Toledo, but some of the buses, public transit buses out here, they're like two buses with like an accordion in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's one of those in front of me, and about halfway up this interchange, it like jackknifes, like it bends in half like a V on the accordion, and just gets stuck. And the grade of the ramp, so it's turning to it's like a left turn at like a 30-degree angle. About halfway up, the back fishtails out from behind me, and I'm like, fuck, sliding right towards the side of this fucking bridge, basically. So it finally stops, and rip on the fucking e-brake. and I call my, and I slowly I then put it in park and slowly lift off the pedal brake, and I don't move. And I'm like, okay, we're in a good spot right now. And so I call my boss. I'm like, "Hey, I'm stuck." And they're like, "What do you mean you're stuck?" I'm like, "I mean, I'm on a bridge and I can't go anywhere." The truck is like, I slid off the road almost. And they're like, "Well, can you put the chains on the tires?" And I'm like, "No, there's still traffic on the highway that's able to get around me and past me. I'm not getting out on the highway on an icy fucking road, just begging for someone to slide into my ass and fucking squish me, right?" They're like,
Right.
"Yeah, okay, that makes sense. We'll send somebody up in a 4x4 truck to like get some sand and like help dig you out and maybe get some traction on the tires."
So wait. So they could have sent someone out originally, but they wanted you to go risk getting squished first?
Well, they also didn't know that, people were getting around me, right? That's what. So this is all in one conversation,
Oh, okay, okay.
and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, after about waiting for 5-10 minutes, I noticed that there's no more traffic passing me, and I'm like, is just nobody getting off the highway? And I uh, look out my rear view mirror, and there's enough people stuck on this bridge that nobody else can like get around. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, here's my chance. So I get out of the cab, and I'm gonna go put the tire chains on. I get out of the cab, close the door, and slip. And I slip into the like towards the truck, which is good because the bridge that I'm on, the back end of my truck was literally, and this is not an exaggeration, about 4 foot from hitting the barrier to a 600-foot drop straight down. And so I slip and I about shit my pants. And I look over the edge, which was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done that because I was like, oh, I might die. And so I get the tire chains out, I get one on, I get the chains on, and I am white knuckle. I get back in, I'm white knuckling the steering wheel, and I shift it into drive. And when I'm giving it gas, but because the chains are on, it doesn't like quite want to go. Like when you're trying to get over like a really big speed bump really slowly.
Yeah.
And I start moving, but the back end does one final fishtail on me and smacks the side of that fucking barrier before like I clear and am able to like go. So it was the most like one of the most terrifying things I've done in recent memory.
I'm
Yeah.
terrified of heights. I'd be like, fuck you, come and get me.
Well, I had two temp workers with me, and like once we finally
Wait, the entire time?
yeah.
What were they doing?
Well, I wasn't gonna make them get out and do it, do anything because, well, one, it's not like they could do anything, and two, I'm responsible for their safety. So if they get out of the truck and something happens to them, then it's on me. So
you're a hero.
No. But when we did get back on like solid, less slippery ground, and I got the chains off and started, driving back to the warehouse, one of them's like, yo, you really are that guy. If shit's going sideways, we need to get in touch with you. You know what's up. And I was like, I guess, as I'm like still white knuckling, like just on fucking adrenaline. Because on the inside, I'm like, fuck, 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 fuck. But on the outside, I was like, everything's fine.
It's funny how something like internally processes to like and translates to like what you do or say externally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of, but like, I also have I have a little bit more experience dealing with like super high intensity situations than maybe the normal person does, and I know that me freaking out isn't going to help the situation, and if other people around me start freaking out, then it's harder for me to control the situation. So,
the only thing the story was missing was, and I had a CD from Kevin with the Hans Zimmer soundtrack to Inception. So I threw that bitch in.
Okay, so funny. So what? This is something I've done for like a really long time. Whenever like traffic or like just driving conditions in general like really shit and like dangerous, what I do is I have this is gonna sound insane, but you need to do this next time and you'll understand why I do it. Like you're in a situation like that. I have on my phone now, and on like an iPod that I had connected to the old Focus for a long time, I've got the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, the metal version of Sephiroth's theme,
Mm-hmm.
and I play that on repeat. and it like helps me focus. And like it just blocks out like everything that's not important in the world when I'm driving in a situation like that. So what I did was I put some my earbuds in and played that, just drowning out like everything else that was going on. Or like if I'm in a car that has like Bluetooth, then I'll play it through the Bluetooth. But anyways, next time you're in that, so here's something I want you guys to do. Go find that in whatever music program you're going to use, right? And just have it set aside. And when you're in a situation when the weather's shit or like traffic's really fucking bad and people are being sketchy, throw that fucking song on, set it on repeat, and you'll be good to fucking go.
Or just play this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're tuning in from across the country and around the world. This is the Life Midwest podcast. Welcome to episode 85 and the season 2 finale, everybody. We've made it through yet another year of not being labeled a COVID cast. We have continued to survive and thrive. We have survived 80% of all podcasts, and that includes the successful ones that are retired. Why? Because that counts. I'm your host, Kevin Palmer. We got our Thai correspondent, Wes Shirley, over there.
Motherfucker, I somehow got muted this whole time. I've been making comments, but, you know.
We're just ignoring you?
Not really, because I was, like, making the contents when it was, like, just a short, like, pause or whatever. So it sounded, like, natural, like, you know, you guys are just moving on to the next thing.
Oh.
Joining us as Seattle's best, but I don't mean the coffee, Lenny Wells.
Wes, I'm really glad you didn't mute yourself for the intro.
I was looking down at my button, and it's so, like, if I brush it with, like, the slightest bit of wind, it mutes itself. I'm looking at it, I'm like, we Gucci.
Could you fucking imagine? Could you imagine?
Yes,
Hard to believe it. We're 15 episodes away from 100, guys.
Oh, shit. What are we doing for a hundo?
You know, I have some ideas. We'll talk about those offline or online. Get it? Because we use a program called Line to communicate with each other.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Thanks. I've been waiting 84 episodes to use that joke. This week, we're going to wrap up the year with, we're taking next week off. We're going to be talking about holiday traditions this year. Jesus Christ. We're going to be talking about holiday traditions this week. And what are they? What do they mean? Should you care? Probably not. But you know what? If you care about what you're listening to, you wouldn't be listening to us anyways. Lenny, I'm curious. You asked the question, what does it mean? So I want to start with you.
Oh, shit.
Does it mean anything spectacular to you? Or are there just certain things that you did as a kid that you were like, you know, when you became, you know, a dad, and did you have that like thought of like, well, I'm going to use the, you know, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that?
Not really, actually. There's only one tradition that I can think of that I've like kind of carried over into like my dad life. Like most of the other traditions that like my family does, and not even just like specifically around like this time of year, but like more generally throughout the year, like we don't, and like I don't really do. So, and the holiday tradition that like I've kind of carried over is on at New Year's we have root beer floats. That's just like something when I was younger my mom would do as like a treat, and because you know it was like a special kind of thing, and that just kind of continued on until I left the house. And you know when Brittany and I like first got together. Well, not first got together, but like when we, did eventually start dating, it was something that, I was very insistent on, because at the time, like it was just like a reminder of home sort of thing. Maybe like insistent on is like a not a good choice of words, but it was something that I was like, hey, I'd really like to do this. This is something I did as a kid. It reminds me of home, and she's open to the idea, and we still do it. Ronan loves it because what kid doesn't like a root beer float? So but we have our some other holiday traditions, which I'm sure we'll get into. I don't want to hog the first now 20 minutes of the episode.
From almost dying to, I like to have root beer floats on New Year's Eve. What a wild ride.
This is a variety cast.
This is a variety cast. Wes, what do you got for us, man? What did you do growing up? What do do you have anything that you and Yui like to do that you carry on from that, or maybe something new?
So as a child, my mom always made like really delicious bakery goods, like fudges and cookies and you name it, she made it. But only during Christmas time. Like she was an excellent baker, but you weren't getting her in the kitchen to bake unless it was like end of November through December. So I would join her in the kitchen and make cookies and fudge. And I don't do that anymore. I mean, I'm in a different country, and she quit baking a little bit ago. Every once in a while, she'll muster up the urge to want to like make fudge, for example, maybe like one thing. But like she used to go all out. It was like a whole month event. So that's the most memorable one. There was a lot of little like Christmas things. Like on Christmas Eve, we would all open up one present. We started that like when I was a young child, early teen, so not like all the way through. But we just decided we're going to start opening one present on Christmas Eve. And we also went to a movie on Christmas Day. No one's ever at the movie theater. They're open for whatever reason. And we would go watch a movie basically in a theater by ourselves on Christmas Day after opening presents and before eating Christmas dinner.
That is weird that the movie theaters are open on Christmas Day, isn't it? And I remember a time, and it was probably just pre-COVID, but I remember a time when you would have movies premiering on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it was like I know the last couple Star Wars movies like premiered, like that's when like they were open to the general public, like after the red carpet. They would like show up in the theaters like on Christmas, right? Or am I like
No, I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's not like I want to make this an episode about feeling bad for like the average like movie theater worker, but it's like, how shitty is it to get up on Christmas morning and be like, oh, gotta go make popcorn? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know.
No, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I worked before I joined the Army. I worked at a gas station in Maumee, and I worked on Christmas morning because nobody else wanted to do it, and I wanted to make really good money.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, what do you have any traditions that you've carried over from growing up?
So there's three that come to mind, and there's one that I plan on carrying to fatherhood with me, because I've even started to do it as the big brother, because I'm just that excited to do it as a dad. The first one isn't really that great. It's just we put on that one channel that plays A Christmas Story all fucking day, and I fucking hate that movie now because of that.
Oh, TBS?
Is that TBS that does that? Fuck you, TBS, piece of shit.
Dude, that's like the best Christmas movie.
No, it's not. The only good part about that movie is when they're at the Chinese restaurant and they're fa ra 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 ra. That's the only funny part.
Holy shit.
Like Wes, we will open one, or was that you, Lenny, that we'll open up one Christmas present on Christmas Eve before bed. It would be like a small gift that we get to open up on Christmas Eve.
That's definitely Wes.
That was Wes. Okay. Yeah. So we do that. The third one.
Wait, hold on. I have a question for the both of you.
Yeah.
Do you guys like put presents out like under the tree, like not on Christmas Eve?
So what they would do is mom and dad would put presents under the tree, but that was never everything. You would always come downstairs and there would be a shit ton more in the morning. Almost like they used some presents to decorate the tree and make us think that was everything, and then be like, nope, fuck you, you're wrong. Here's a fucking ping pong table. I don't know, whatever. They would always pull shit like that.
Wes, is that the same for you?
Presents just kind of accumulated under the tree throughout the month of like December. Like there would be like one and then a couple and then a few. Like each of us would individually put presents under.
I'm gonna cut in here and say trigger warning about the thing about Santa Claus. Okay, go ahead.
From a very young age, like I knew Santa wasn't a thing, and my only sibling's 5 years older than me, so like he knew Santa wasn't a thing. Sorry to anyone who's just hearing the sad news, but yeah, Santa's not real. Well,
yeah, late trigger warning there, Wes. Thanks.
Spoiler alert for anyone listening in their car with kids.
Don't listen in the car with your kids with the shit we say. I don't know. So presents would just slowly accumulate under the tree. And I guess maybe if like my mom was like keeping back a present, she would like put it under there the night before Christmas, like after I'm asleep. But I've been a gamer practically my whole life. So like I would be up until 3, 4, 5 in the morning anyways. So like she would just throw it under there in the morning. Like, okay, you didn't see that, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, I know it's there.
God damn it, boy, go to sleep.
Right.
Okay, because that's never how it's been in any of the houses I've lived in. It's always you go to sleep Christmas Eve, there's nothing under the tree. You wake up, it's a fucking smorgasbord of
Santa took a
presents.
shit.
No, he just left all the presents.
Yeah, he shit out the
Same
presents.
as is normal custom for all the Santa Claus stories.
And what I liked about that blend was they would always say, you know, Santa helps mom and dad. And so the big stuff, right? That was the stuff that would come from Santa. And I think they did that was so I didn't have this expectation that my parents could afford big things like year round. Because my mom used to have to do like the whole layaway thing at Kmart. Or have like a Christmas savings account and put, you know, $20 away throughout the year and then go, you know, buy everything on Black Friday when people used to beat each other over the head with the last sled at Target or whatnot. So yeah, I've always kind of liked that. I think that's something I'll carry on too, actually. The other big tradition that I was going to mention was my parents always made Christmas magical as a kid. And what I mean by that is, so we had a couple of traditions there, and this was kind of like coincided like with St. Nicholas Day. Are you guys familiar with that?
No.
Okay.
I am not.
So there's this German tradition.
Is this like some Catholic thing that I don't know about?
As far as I know, it's just it was a German thing, but I could be mistaken about this.
Oh, okay.
And what it was is you would leave your list out for Santa on the night of December 5th. And Santa would go to all the houses and come get your list and leave you a note. And usually it was like you know, if you've been good, it's an attaboy and keep up the good work. And if you haven't been good, it's like, hey, here's your chance to turn things around. You got 3 weeks. Let's go. And I remember one year, trigger warning for people who don't know the thing about Santa. I remember one year I recognized that my handwriting or my dad's handwriting looked a lot like Santa Claus's handwriting.
Oh, no.
Yeah. My mom played that off smooth as fuck, though. I'll tell you what.
What'd she say?
I don't remember, but I ended up believing for like another 4 or 5 years after that. Yeah. So, I mean, I always thought that was cool. Like you could make a list and Santa would get the list, and it was a great way to for the parents to nail it instead of having to remember like, oh, what did Jimmy say he wanted the last time we were at Target? Oh, I can't remember. And then but it also is like, okay, kids, give me all your Christmas lists so I can go buy you what you want. I don't know. There was just an element of magic to it, and I just really liked that.
Wow. You never got anything back like, the fuck are you thinking? I can't get you this shit. We've got elves, not little China children.
There was one year I asked for something pretty big, and I don't remember what it was. big financially. I think it was. I obviously I'm a kid. I don't really understand like how money and like financials work just yet and all that. And I remember getting some sort of like, Santa's going to try his best to bring you this because you really have been good. But the elves might not have enough time to make it, something like that.
Okay.
Which I thought was really, really cool. Like I said, I just between St. Nicholas Day, and he would drop off your advent calendar too. So you'd get like the first 5 pieces of chocolate like right off the bat, which was really cool. He would bring you your advent calendar and take your list. I remember when I was really little, like 9 or 10, again, trigger warning for the Santa thing. My dad literally would go outside and throw shit at the roof above my bedroom. So it sounded like reindeer like landed on the house in the middle of the night.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And I got up the next morning. I just remember one year specifically, and my dad was like, "Hey, did you hear a clatter of some sort last night?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I thought that was just you knocking or something." So I like ignored it. And I think my dad was kind of bummed because he never did it again. But and then he told me like years later that that's what he was doing. And yeah, it was just really, really cool. There's one more tradition, and then I'll shoot it back to you guys. And this is the one I'm really excited to carry into fatherhood. And I do this as a brother now. I love fucking with people on Christmas.
In like how?
Well, there was one year where I got one of my sisters. She had money was tight for her, and she ended up selling her guitar. And she loved that guitar and did not want to sell it. But she rather would have sold all of her shit than go and ask mom and dad for help. So that's what she did. That was one of the things that she did. I found that guitar and I bought it off the person. And what I did was I put it in a box. I went to Guitar Center and I said, "Hey, I'm gifting this guitar for Christmas and I need to wrap it, but I don't want a guitar box. I need a cymbal stand box." So when she unwrapped it, there was going to be all of this, shit inside of it. Guitar picks, cables for the amp, whatever. But it was going to be a fucking drum cymbal box. Just one singular drums, like cymbal for a drum set. And I just got such a kick out of like, just making, you make people think it's one thing, but it's another. My dad always did it. And I remember one year, this was Christmas of 2006. I had Michael's, our friend of the show, Michael Lehman. I had his old computer. My parents had bought off of him for me as my first computer. It ran Windows ME. It was fucking terrible. Michael, I love you, but it was fucking terrible. And all I did was bitch about it. So a year and a half later, my parents went and got me. This was when dual core processors were brand new, and got me a Dell gaming computer, a nice one. Like it was nice for 2006. It was fucking nice.
It was what, like an XPS, like the first XPS.
Yep, exactly. And so but what my dad did was he wrapped the power cord, and all he gave me was the fucking power cord. And I unwrapped it, and I was like, "Is it like, does this go to something?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Fuck you, Dad. Yes, you do know." And he would have me open up like this other box, and it would be like, "Oh, it's the power cord to a new monitor. Cool, I got a new monitor." And I was like thrilled. I got a new like 17-inch monitor, like flat screen. It was fucking huge to me. You know what I mean? I was like, "Man, I can't wait to see what World of Warcraft looks like on this." And he's like, "Well, there's a little bit more, but it's not under the tree." I was like, "Okay." Like I had no fucking idea. And I go upstairs, and there's a giant fucking box from Dell sitting in my parents' bedroom. And I open up one fucking flap, and I swear to God, it is the only time I have matched the octave of Michael Jackson without getting kicked in the nuts. I flew the fuck down the stairs. I was like, "Is that really for me? Is that really mine?" I spent the entire and it came with a free upgrade to Windows Vista. Yeah. So it was just, but yeah, like my parents always did shit like that, where it was like, there was a year my mom gifted us all a trip to Germany, and she all gave us envelopes, and we all had to open up the envelope at the same time. Like it was always like theatrical or like a tease of some sort. And I love that. I want to continue to do that. I do that to Colleen all the fucking time with shit, and I just want to do it for my kids. I fucking love it. I live for that shit.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. This is kind of like an open question, I guess, to the both of you. Are there any like new traditions that you guys have started or something like that? Like aside from like the ones like that you've like brought up from like your childhood, is there something that you want to do that like is new?
I don't celebrate Christmas actually these days. I'm in a country where like it's not really a thing. My wife doesn't celebrate it. And I've always kind of hated Christmas since I was like maybe 12 years old. Not like in a Grinch or like Scrooge bah humbug, but like it's kind of depressing for me. So like I plan as a tradition to not celebrate Christmas in any shape or form. But I have to video call with my mom and my niece and nephew and brother and sister-in-law, and they celebrate Christmas. And I've been part of their Christmases, not this year, obviously, but few years previous, and also not when I was in Japan, but a year before that. And it's wholesome and it's not the worst thing in the world, but I personally don't intend to celebrate Christmas anymore as a new tradition.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this question then. Outside of like, the Christmas quote unquote holiday season, are there things in like, in Thailand and Thai culture that, that are going to become a part of like a tradition for you?
Yeah, so only things that like her family does that she'll drag me to. I I really don't like holidays. I don't like traditions. I'm not really one for sentiment in that type of way. Like it's not like a anti-holiday thing. It's just literally I rather continue my normal life. Just give me a day off work and I'll be happy. It just all feels so hollow to me, like especially knowing the like corporate aspect of all of our holidays worldwide and understanding advertising and communications in the way I do. It's just really all disenchanted for me. So I don't have any type of good time. Maybe if I have children that will change because I want to like provide the magical atmosphere for them that my mom provided for me. But until that day comes around, if it does, I really just will only celebrate things I get dragged to celebrate.
I guess that's fair. Not the reality that you experience, I think, is not a uncommon one.
It's not unfounded.
Yeah, it's not. It's something that is the norm for a lot of people. So
yeah,
I respect that.
Like I do too, and I feel a lot of what you're saying, Wes. I think I take like a very specific approach to it because I do feel like I'm a very empathetic person, so I can see how like certain aspects of that feel disenchanting, and you're right. Like a lot of holidays are corporate bullshit, right? But I think Christmas is my favorite holiday and time of year because I make it about other people. It's easy for me to spread joy and love and want to make other people feel good and happy and entertained and laugh. I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast and start that. It's something I can do throughout the year. But I think that's kind of the joy in Christmas for me is like making other people happy. And that allows me to kind of ignore, like I have those feelings that you're talking about, but I think me doing that, like, because I focus on that, it allows me to like ignore kind of that aspect of it. Otherwise I would probably feel the exact same way. So it's very valid. I see your point.
Okay. Well, Kevin, then let me ask you that question. Is there something that you haven't mentioned that maybe like you and Ashley are kind of currently doing since like, your guys' traditions are being blended together, or something that like you want to do that you haven't already talked about?
You bring up a good point with us kind of being, blended and now with, with our traditions and things like that. I really enjoy hearing the things that Ashley kind of experienced as a child for holidays and for Christmas. and so many of them are continue for her with her family that I kind of sometimes will take like a mental note when it happens, and then on the drive home be like, hey, that thing that we did, that was pretty cool. I'll be honest with you, I'm blanking right now when it comes to stuff like that. I'm sure we'll come up with new stuff. We did talk about doing Elf on the Shelf, but we want to get like a handmade one. Like we've gone to a couple of different places and stores that have like handmade crafts and things like that, and we're like, hey, do you have like an Elf on the Shelf but not an Elf on the Shelf kind of thing? We've talked about doing like getting like decorations that involve like a Black or Asian Santa, just stuff to get, to expose the kids to more worldliness types of things. But nothing really set in stone, so I just throw a few out there, I guess.
One of the things that was like new for me, like when Brittany and I got really serious, there's an event that happens in the area. It's called North Pole at the Fair. So the city I live in, Puyallup, actually is where the Washington State Fair is held, at the Puyallup Fairgrounds. And
can you say that again for me?
The Puyallup Fairgrounds.
Okay, I just wanted Ashley to hear that one more time because we were writing the Christmas cards the other night, and she was like, "How the fuck do you say that?"
Yeah, it's a Native American word. Anyways, and so what they do is like, they have like just like, your like winter wonderland sort of thing for, where there's like little, activities like for the kids to do, and then you go and sit with Santa. Well, all except for I think the first year of the pandemic, so like 2020, and then in 2019. So Brittany has taken her kid, my Ace. She's taken them to go see the same Santa Claus. It's always the same guy. So except for those 2 times, we've always gone to see this Santa. So that's kind of like a tradition that's new for me that like we've kind of carried on doing. So like Ronan, he's like I said, aside from the 1 year that we just didn't book the appointment in time, but he was like a little, really little that he wouldn't even remember. So he really only knows like this one Santa Claus, and so far so does Rosalind. She only knows the one Santa. Something else that's kind of like a new for me tradition is just like not necessarily like baked goods, because that's like kind of like how Wes talked about, like my mom always made cutout cookies. Like that was like, they were always like the same shapes that, she's had like my entire life. But Brittany does a lot of baking around the holidays, and so it's more like a different selection, I guess, menu, if you want if you want to call it that. I guess it's kind of like a continued tradition, because like I would always help my mom bake cookies like when I was a kid. And now my kids help Brittany. So even if it's not the same kind of baked goods. So another tradition we have that I forgot to mention is we go out and pick. Everybody gets like their own ornament for like the tree. So like, eventually we'll have like a bunch of just nonsensical ornaments that don't have a theme, but everybody always picks their own out.
Gotcha. It's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
All right, folks. Because this is the season finale, there's a few things that I want to ramble off here before I go to the shout outs. I of course want to first off thank all the countries that tune into this show. There's a few new ones, but I haven't taken the time to sort them out from last year's, but I recognize a few of them as new this year. So I'm going to shout those ones out. Take no offense if I don't count you, but United States, Thailand, Japan, United Kingdom, Finland is new this year. Singapore, Germany, Ireland, Iran, India, Australia, Colombia is new this year. Austria is new this year. Hong Kong is new this year. Brazil, France, Canada, South Africa is new this year. Mexico is new this year. Egypt is new this year. Dominican Republic is new this year. Philippines and Taiwan. For those who are curious, our most listened to platform is Apple Podcasts, but you can catch us on any of your favorite listening platforms, including the web browser, which is 10% of our listening base, crazy enough. You stumbled upon us through Google Chrome or whatever the hell it is. Boys, I also want to go through a fun fact here, too, because we're not doing a New Year episode. I want to go over our top 5 episodes and our least listened to episode. Without going to the website, anchor.fm, the easiest way to make a podcast. Like I threw that in there. Good. Without going to the website, what do you think our most popular episode is
of the year?
I'm
gonna have to look at our catalog.
Was it the punk episode?
Nope.
I don't think that would be it. Also, that wasn't this year, was it? That was last year.
Was
the most listened to episode this year.
Hold on. I'm not done thinking.
I'm not done thinking. We need to make that a shirt.
I'm going to say, is it Water Please?
No.
Used Car Woes.
That's a great guess, but no.
Okay, I don't fucking know. Wes, do you have any guesses?
Well, we did like 40 some episodes this year, so like we just go through all those until he finally says yes.
No, it's actually My Friend Wes, episode 1.
That was from last year. I knew that answer. You said this year.
The second most listened to episode is My Friend Kevin, followed by episode 3, Perception, Attribution, and Empathy, followed by episode 10, our first email. Remember Emily Green? And then episode 5 at number 5 with video games and autonomy. Want to shout out episodes number 6 was episode 42. That was our season 1 finale. Help, I'm having an existential crisis and I can't get up. Our 2 least listened to episodes this year is Media Bias Part 1 and 2.
Okay.
Everyone's media'd out. There's too much of it. Fuck the media.
So what I'm getting from this list is a lot of people stumbled onto the podcast, listened to the first couple episodes, and went, nah.
Exactly.
If you're looking for ways to support us, we do have a plethora of ways to do that. You can reach out to us at support@thelifemidwest.com. We do have an email to read. I'll get back to that in just a moment. We have the website at thelifemidwest.com. You can also reach us, interact with us on any of our major social media platforms at The Life Midwest. And if you're looking for ways to donate and support the show, as it does cost money to run the show, we do have a PayPal set up at paypal.me/thelifemidwest. Folks, we do have an email here from a Linda Way. And she sent this email out. I apologize for taking so long to read it. We normally try to read things, within the week or two of getting them. But I wanted to share this one as it's really, really special, and I think it's a great way to cap off the show. So, Linda says, "Hello." That's it. That's the email.
Hell yeah!
Wait, really?
Linda.
What an excellent email. I want more of those. Hello. Hi, Linda.
It was fucking Emily Green all over again. 75. Took another 75 episodes. We got another Emaily Green.
Emaily Green.
I feel like Linda's is way better than Emaily Green's, because Emaily Green's is basically like an advertisement. This was just like, sup?
Hi. Hello.
It feels very Midwest, because you just walking along and be like, hey. And then now you strike up a conversation. That's very Midwest. Good for you, Linda.
You know what else is very Midwest of us? the Midwest goodbye. Folks, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. It's time for the shout outs. Wes, I'm going to kick it over to you. What do you got for us this season finale?
Shout out to all of our listeners, all three of you. We really appreciate you sticking around. Shout out to everyone who sent us an email. That really gave us some engagement. Shout out to all of our guests who joined the show and had their own episodes. I say this every time, but when other people are talking, I enjoy this podcast a lot more. So thank you for giving me stuff to listen to. And shout out to mothers. A whole nother year went by that I had an excellent mother. So shout out to her. And shout out to my wife. I do be in a place because of her, and that's pretty cool. And that happened this year. And shout out to dinosaurs, because every year that I don't shout out dinosaurs is a bad year. Thanks.
All right, Kevin, give us your shout outs.
Want to shout out all the guests that have been on the show this year. That includes the following: Brittany Wells, Bridget, and Michael Lehman, and our friend Jake. And let's see, who else did we have on I think that was it for the My Friends this year. Yeah, I'm looking. No, we had Lena as well. Thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate it. That was everybody though. Hey, I also want to give a special shout out to Brittany again and Bridget again, as well as my wonderful fiance Ashley for doing a very special and meaningful episode with us this year. I know it was a very heavy episode and a very heavy topic, but it was something that was important to us and something that we wanted to put out there and produce. I'm of course talking about the Roe v. Wade episode, and we appreciate having the ladies on and giving them a platform to voice their opinions and kind of echo our concerns about the country and the direction it's heading. I want to thank all the listeners from literally all the across the country and around the world. That's the whole reason I say it at the beginning of every episode. I will continue to say it at the beginning of every episode because I really do appreciate you, the listener. It gives me a purpose. I feel a sense of direction with this podcast, and I feel like it's going to continue to evolve, and it can't evolve without listeners. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you. Also, of course, want to shout out especially again Ashley, my wonderful fiance, for supporting everything that I do, for the late night recordings at midnight when she wants to go to bed, for the I have to produce this podcast in an hour, and I need to drop what I'm doing and go do that. Not right now. I'm on the phone with someone about artwork for the podcast. Just anything that involves impeding what we're currently doing or setting it aside to contribute to the podcast. I appreciate her patience and her love and her support with that. It really means the world. So want to shout out the other wives of the show as well, Yui and Brittany. Appreciate you both so much. Putting up with those two can't be very easy. I know I'm not easy to put up with. So if I get along with two other people, then they're probably not easy to put up with either, right, boys?
Yeah,
I think that's a fair assessment.
That's gonna do it with the shout outs for me though, unless I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. Call your mom. You know what? Yeah, you know what? Hold on a second. Call your mom. Call your mom, boys and girls, because moms are special. I'm a mama's boy. You know that about me. My mom has been an incredible force for herself and for others this year. But also I would not be where I am right now without her. So
you probably wouldn't
I can say that about be that as it may, I more so mean the place that I am in currently in life. I really appreciate her love and support, and it means the world. So thank you. Lenny, what do you got for us, bud?
So yeah, I want to echo and piggyback off kind of what y'all said. I want to first and foremost, I'm going to shout out to my wonderfully beautiful wife, Brittany. You're right, putting up with me sucks, and she does it with grace. Next, I want to shout out to all of our listeners around the world. A few surprising places, like especially Iran right now, and Hong Kong. Y'all keep on keeping on, and We love all of our listeners, especially Linda. Hell yeah, Linda. And I want to shout you guys out for bringing me on full time this year. I've loved doing it, and I can't wait to keep doing it. So, call you Ma. Ma! Ma!
Yeah, call your mom. Hey, Lenny, it has been a blast having you on and joining us full time. And I really do appreciate the contributions that you make to the show, both on and off the airwaves. And yeah, just keep doing you, man. Wes, thank you for all the hard work that you do with the visuals, with the scripts that you've done for episodes this year, for, you know, creating an awesome website for us. Just all the contributions that both of you guys make to making this, you know, continuing to uphold this as a platform. I appreciate the hell out of you both. So,
Kevin,
folks,
hold on. We need to give you some appreciation. I mean, you produced this fucking thing. You know, it wouldn't really be happening if, you know, you weren't able to distribute it and make us sound not unlike a bunch of babbling baboons. So, your skills behind the computer screen and with whatever you use to cut this thing together and make it presentable are fantastic. So props to you, my good man.
Concurred.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's a labor of love. And like this labor of love, sometimes you need a break from it. So we are taking a break next week. Go enjoy the holidays with your family, or just enjoy the next, you know, week and a half with whoever, especially in your life. Do that. And we will see you guys in the new year. Hopefully, many. What did Email Green say to us last year? Many and prosperous new year to you all. Something like that. So, I think that's what we're gonna leave it on, folks. Hey, again, don't forget to check us out and leave us a review on your favorite listening platform. Interact with Lenny, your social media manager, on any major social platform at The Life Midwest. Check out the website Wes made at thelifemidwest.com, and we'll look forward to hopefully having an email or two at support@thelifemidwest.com when we return. Until then, we will see you next Saturday and every Saturday on the Life Midwest podcast. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Take care.
Have a good one.
You filthy animals.